This is Max Williams with United Real Estate, and today I'm in Chesterfield County. Today we're going to take a look at a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home. This home is located here on over an acre. We've got really nice sized lots here in this subdivision. Definitely larger lots than we typically have in this price range. This home is a foreclosure, and as a result is being sold as is. I often get questions from people they're kind of curious about the home buying process, and they want to know how long it takes to actually buy a house. And that's a great question. I wanted to use this video to kind of go into the process of buying a home from a buyer's perspective. Typically, the first step, the first thing that we do is get that pre-qualification. A good local lender that's well qualified and knows the business well is going to look at your situation, going to figure out if you qualify and what you qualify for. If you don't qualify, that's not a problem. We can put you in touch with good people. They're going to help you get where you need to be. The lender will also give you some good, solid tips on getting there as well. Once we have that pre-qualification, that's when the fun really starts. I work with you, and we actually start looking at the homes that I send to you that meet your general qualifications in via email. And I'm looking at these homes very carefully to see if there are going to be potential problems or glitches before we even step out the door. Let me give you an example. Right here, we have a porch, and I'm going to pan down here. We can see that we have these columns go all the way from the top all the way down, and we are missing railing. Now, railing is no big deal. They sell it at every Lowe's and every Home Depot. However, when that appraiser comes, he or she's going to look and say, "Ooh, we got a safety issue. Boom, this house is not financeable under normal guidelines." Now, with this being a foreclosure, the lender typically, as a rule, the lender that owns the home, the bank that owns this home, is not going to do any repairs. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. There are special loans that will help facilitate getting that work done. Sometimes, if we are very fortunate, we can talk the seller into doing it. But as a general rule, they are as is, where is. So things like that you would never ever know, but because I'm in the business and I do this day in and day out, I know that that's potentially going to be a glitch for us. The last thing we want to do is set expectations for you to get excited and then realize that we can't do what we want to do because of something like that. So we go ahead, we come out, we take a look at the homes that you have in mind, and once you make a decision, we actually make the offer. When agents make an offer, most of the good ones, that takes priority over pretty much everything else in their life except for eating. It becomes a priority because time is of the essence. We don't know who else is looking. We don't know if any other offers are in progress. I typically will immediately call the other agent and I'll say, "Hey, we've got a client that is interested in this house. Are there any other offers in the works?" And they'll tell me. They're typically pretty honest about that. If there is something else on the table, another offer on the table, in most cases, if they know that there's another party that's interested, they will let their client know, "Hey, we've got another offer coming," and we'll act accordingly. So it's important for us to move quickly when we have an idea that an offer wants to be made. Since I'm a full-time agent, it's easy for me to do that because this is what I'm doing all day, every day. If you have somebody that's part-time or just kind of dabbles in real estate, often they've got to wait 6-8 hours until they get off to do what needs to be done. So just a word for the wise there. Once the home is put under contract, then we move forward with the home inspection. We typically have 10 days for the home inspection. Home inspections are always done on properties, even when it's a foreclosure or it's as is, because typically you'll have the ability to either move forward on those homes if you want to, or if you want to back out, you can typically back out without penalty. If it's a traditional sale, a traditional seller, typically buyer and seller will negotiate on repairs and go back and forth, and then once there is an agreement, a meeting of the minds as far as the repairs, it gets pretty quiet. You will have some documents to submit to your lender. The title company will do their thing. The insurance company will do their thing. And then you will be notified of your closing date. Actually, your closing date is part of the contract. So you know up front what date we are supposed to close. So that's not a secret. We do move forward and try to meet that date. And if everything goes fine, typically 5 weeks is not a problem. We're going to go on upstairs and see what we have up here. But before we do that, I notice we've got a little bit of an issue here. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if it was a disgruntled dog, cat, or toddler. But you're going to replace the carpet in this house anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, on the second floor, we've got a nice allocation for bedroom space. I really like this home for that reason. Getting back to our process, once buyer and seller agree on price and terms, we go ahead, continue to move forward, and then you are notified of your closing date, your actual closing date, and your cash to close requirements. If you guys remember a few days back, I had a buyer who did not have to bring any money to the closing table. That happens from time to time. If you are required to bring money to closing, you'll know how much it is well in advance. The only cash that's required in advance of the closing is typically going to be money for the home inspection. Typically, depending on the inspector, that could be anywhere from $425 to $525 range, depending on the inspections that you get and the company. Remember, I always stress, make sure you get that radon inspection. And then secondly, the lender will typically ask for money for the appraisal. Appraisal is typically going to be about $450, $500. Other than that, there is no money paid out of pocket prior to a real estate closing. So it makes it easy from a budgeting standpoint. If you are renting now and you're waiting on a lease to expire, don't. And the reason I tell you that is because I often will step in if somebody wants to buy and work on your behalf, negotiate with that landlord to see if we can get you out of that deal with minimal pain. If we can't get you out with minimal pain, then what we do is we structure our transaction to where we get the seller to pick up part of all of that penalty that your landlord may be trying to impose. We don't let nickels stand in the way of dollars. And so that's another service that we offer. I'm in this to negotiate, to work for you, to make sure things not only go smoothly, but also to get what you want and to make sure you're protected in the process. If someone does not play fair or does some things that are not quite right, which is fairly rare, most of us in the business do this day in and day out, and we kind of know what to expect. There are guidelines, there's ethics. Most of it is pretty clear cut. But if somebody does kind of get in the way of that process and tries to take advantage, I turn into a very different person. I'm typically pretty laid back and cool, calm, and collected. But the minute somebody tries to take advantage of one of my clients, I am typically a very, very different person. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, here in the bathroom, we got a couple things going on. That's insulation there that came from that hole right there. Typically, that means that they tried to access the plumbing there in the wall for some reason. So that's a pretty easy repair. And the other thing I wanted to point out, I'm not sure what happened here, but we had a cavity there. I don't know if you guys can see it. A cavity in the wall. And someone took a couple rolls of toilet paper and put them in that cavity. The sad thing about it is it's not supposed to be there. The good thing about it is if you ever run out of toilet paper, you've got a quick, easy remedy right there. Okay, that's going to do it for this home. Please remember, I'm in competition for that Photographer of the Year competition. I'll put the link down below. I believe you can vote once a day. So even if you voted before, you can help a brother out. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for taking this tour with me. If you have any questions, it's Max Williams, 804-402-7788. I can reach on Facebook under Richmond Area Foreclosures, on YouTube under my name, Max Williams Realtor. Please remember, we do have the rent-to-own program starting from $12.50 a month and up in the counties, and we would love to work with you or your referral. Thanks so much. Have a great day.